Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar organized by Doxity in partnership with EDHEC University. My name is Carolina. Nice to meet you all, and I'll be your host for today's event on behalf of Doxity. I see here that first people are already starting to join in. We're going to wait a few minutes before starting to allow everyone to connect. In the meantime, feel free to say hi on our chat here in Zoom, and please tell us where you're from, since we are very curious. First of all, I want to thank everyone for joining us and thank our panelists for being here with us today. I want to introduce you all to Emmanuel Georgienko, Director of Graduate Finance Programs, and Simona Marchese, Master in Finance and student, and also Marigael Poyad, the reference for the students too. Together with them, we're going to discover the Management and Finance track and Masters of Science and the Finance programs, also uncovering the career prospects and the unique offerings of each of these courses. You'll also have the possibility to interact with our speakers and ask them questions. Talking about that, I'd like to remind you that after the presentation, we will have a Q&A session where you will be able to ask direct questions to the panelists. So don't be shy and just type all of your questions in the Q&A section here on Zoom at the bottom of the page, and we'll go through them at the end of the webinar. Also, for those of you interested in receiving a certificate of attendance by Doxity for this free masterclass, stay tuned because we will post the link to get the certificate at the end of the session. So I think that we are able to start now. Welcome to those who just joined us. And without further ado, I'm now leaving the floor to our panelists for their presentation. Thank you, enjoy, and see you later.
Thank you, Carolina. So, hello, everyone. I'm really glad to be here tonight with you. Thanks for joining us for this webinar dedicated to EDHEC Masters in Finance. So, I'm Marigael Poyad, the Head of Marketing and Communication for EDHEC Business School for the Master's programs. And today, Emmanuel Georgienko, who is Director of Graduate Finance Program, as well as Simona Marchese, with a current student in a final year in finance study in the specialization Corporate Finance and Banking, will join me for this webinar. So let's have a look at the agenda first. I'm going to start the webinar by saying a few words about EDHEC Business School. Then Emmanuel is going to present you the portfolio of Masters in Finance that we offer at EDHEC. It will be followed by an open discussion with Simona. Simona was going to share with us her experience at EDHEC Business School so far. I will briefly talk about admission requirements and scholarship as well. And as Carolina mentioned it, the webinar will end with a Q&A session part, where you'll be free to ask any question that you might have about the school, about the Masters in Finance program, about the student life, and so on. So just a few words about EDHEC Business School. EDHEC Business School is one of the top business schools in France and in Europe as well. The Financial Times ranked EDHEC Business School as the 7th best business school in Europe for the 2nd year in a row. At EDHEC, we offer a wide range of programs in management, marketing, finance that goes from the bachelor, the BBA, to MBAs and PhD in finance. And in between, we have the masters in management, marketing, and finance. Talking about masters in finance, we are highly ranked in the best rankings worldwide, as our master in finance has been ranked in the top 10 masters in finance worldwide by the Financial Times in 2023. As you may know, the finance track is also a part of the Master in Management. The Master in Management, the EDHEC Master in Management, is also recognized worldwide as is in the top 12 of the Master in Management ranking by the Financial Times 2023. One important element that I want to highlight as well is the quality of our Career Services Department. The Career Services Department was ranked as the first and the best one in France by the Financial Times in their Master in Management ranking 2023, which illustrate the quality of the support that the Career Service Department offers to our students, which is quite important. EDHEC Business School is also accredited. We have the triple accreditation, AMBA, AACSB, and EQUIS, but we also have the CEFDG accreditation. That means that the school offers a master's degree that is a French master degree, and that is not only a school diploma. EDHEC Business School has 5 campuses. Our 2 main campuses are located in Nice and Lille. And we also have 3 executive campuses, one in Paris, downtown, one in London, and one in Singapore. By choosing to study at EDHEC Business School, you will study in a very international environment. We have a lot of students coming from many different nationalities. We also have a lot of exchange programs with the top-ranked institution across the world. We have more than a third of our students that are international, that come from overseas. And we also have a third of our students that are granted an EDHEC scholarship. So you will study in a truly international environment and a truly diverse environment as well. Let's have a look at our Nice campus. One specificity that we have at EDHEC is that all of our finance programs are delivered on the same campus in the Nice campus. So all the masters in finance are delivered in Nice. We have also the PhD in finance in Nice. And we also have our renowned research center based on our Nice campus, such as the EDHEC Risk Impact Climate Institute. So you will study in an environment that will be entirely dedicated to finance. And you will study as well in a nice environment. As you can see from on the screen, the view from the Nice campus is quite nice. And the campus is also very well located. It's close to the airport. We are at a 20 minutes walk from the beach. And we are also at a 15-minute tramway ride from the city center. So you will study in a very nice environment and entirely dedicated to finance. And without further ado, I will now leave the floor to Emmanuel Jorzenko, who is going to present you our Masters in Finance portfolio. Emmanuel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Marie-Gaëlle. So, hello, I'm very happy to be there. So, perhaps if you go on the next slide. So the objective will be to present effectively our specific portfolio of master. But perhaps before I start to dive in the EDHEC ecosystem, just want to mention that we are talking about a special industry, which is the finance industry. And if you want to venture in the finance industry, this is definitively a good choice. This is a good timing because this industry, like other sector, is disrupted. You have a lot of new evolutions. This is now an industry that is becoming more and more techy. I'm sure that you already heard about decentralized finance, tokenization. So you have a lot of disruption that are coming with respect to the application of blockchain. At the same time, there is a growing needs of talents for systematic funds, so growing importance of machine learning. And finance is more techy, but at the same time, it's more human, with the increasing importance of sustainable finance. And EDHEC is very well positioned with respect to those evolutions. So this is the right time if you want to venture in the financial industry. And what we want to show you today is that if you go to EDHEC, this will be the right people, in fact, to be able, in fact, to develop your career in finance. So EDHEC is really, really special with respect to finance. Finance is really at the core of the DNA of the school. As Marie-Gaëlle mentioned, all the finance programs, that mean all the finance students at the master level will study in our Nice campus. This is where you will find also our top finance professors, international full-time professors. This is where also you will find a dedicated care center and a lot of additional services, a Bloomberg training room, and so forth. There are two possibilities if you want to study at the graduate level finance at EDHEC. So the first is to do the Master in Management with a finance track. So if, for instance, you decide to go at HEC Paris, for instance, or other top business school, you will be able to study a Master in Management, but this will be a generalist Master in Management. So what you will do is, depending on your interest, you will be able, in fact, to follow different electives and, for instance, to combine some financial electives with some business electives. So EDHEC have decided, in fact, to follow another path. That is that if you do a Master in Management, you have basically two possibilities. One possibility is if you want to pursue a career in business, you go to our campus in Lille and you do the business management track, Master in Management track. But if you want to venture in the financial industry, in this case, you will come in Nice and you will do the Master in Management finance track. And if you think about this, is a really first grade value proposition, because that means that you will have three, and Simona, that is our student that follow, in fact, this track, will be, I'm sure, able, in fact, I hope, to convince you that this is a great value proposition, because you will have, in fact, basically 3 years to develop your professional project. Okay, this is a 3-year program. So the first year you study finance, you learn the foundations, and then you get in year 2 a gap year, where basically you have 1 year to pursue 2 internships. And if you think about people, for instance, that would like to have a career in Anglo-Saxon financial institutions, this is a great opportunity, in fact, to secure your spring and your summer, and then to be able, in fact, to enter in a graduate program, right? So it's either a possibility to test with 2 different internships, either if you prefer corporate finance or if you prefer capital markets, but to test it on the ground, or it's a possibility, in fact, really to create a track so that you will be able at the end to work with the top of the tops, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, you name it. Or also for M&A careers or private equity careers. And then in year 3, with this Master in Management dedicated to finance, you will have the possibility to choose among 4 specialized MSCs. And at the end of the 3 years, you will receive 2 diplomas, the so-called French Grad Master, and you will have EDHEC specific finance MSc. We will see in a few minutes the portfolio of specialized MSc, but you will have possibility, in fact, either if you want to go in corporate finance world to apply and follow the MSc in corporate finance. And for the one that would be more interesting in capital markets, you will have, for instance, a possibility to go in MSc financial engineering. The second possibility at EDHEC, if you want to study finance, is to join, in fact, the MSCs in the final year. This is suited, for instance, for students that have done either an engineering school or have done a bachelor. So in this case, you have also a possibility, in fact, to enter directly on the last year. In this case, you have the same 4 MSCs plus an additional one that is more generalist. You can see in terms of the timing, in this case, you will start with some foundational courses depending on your background, and then you will have the same courses as the students that have pursued the Master in Management finance track. But to be able, in fact, to obtain as them the 2 diplomas, your MSc plus the Grad Master, that is recognized by the French Ministry of Higher Education, you will have, in fact, additional months to add the number of ECTS credits, so that at the end you will have 120 ECTS credits in 1 year instead of 3 years, as for the Master in Management finance track. So this is overview. If we go in the next slide, yeah. So exactly as I was mentioning, so we focus in the Master in Management. 3 years, what is very important, year 2, this gap year, so that you can really develop your expertise, start really to build your network. And at the end, you have the 2 diplomas. What is most, I think, interesting is to see, in fact, the type of MEC that you will be able to choose. In the next slide, you will see, in fact, so the first year will be the foundation. Foundation basically is what you study. So you have first some managerial courses. This is something you have to study because you remember at the end you will have your grad master. So this is a grad in management studies. But most importantly, you will have foundation courses in finance. So quantitative tools. Python is now the standard in finance. So you will have a course on financial econometrics with Python. It used to be with R. Now R is over. It's really Python. You will have also some advanced VBA/Excel courses. And you will have a course on future of finance, on fintech, on climate change, and 2 parts. 1 part on the fundamentals of capital markets, the other one on corporate finance. And you will have also access to a bunch of electives, CFA preparation, for instance, also M&A elective done with Mazar and so forth. So this is for the first year. You got the gap year, and after you have the possibility to choose a specific MSc that will be related, in fact, to your professional project. When I started, I said at EDHEC, okay, we got a very strong reputation in the industry and also in academia. We are very well known for the quality of research of our professors. We are very well known for the quality of the applied research of our research centers, and we are super well known with respect in the industry, with respect to our students, with respect to the alumni. Okay, so the footprint, for instance, of EDHEC Finance LMD is very big in Paris, for instance, and in London. And the feedback from the several banks is that when you have an EDHEC students where they are ready, they are very good and they are very competitive. And why we are able to do so? First, because we got the first feature, that is we do not have a generalist master in management. We have a specific master in management in finance, option 1. But option 2 also, since we have that, we have also a very large portfolio of MSCs. And again, if you compare with, I would say, the competition, they are good, right? But when you look to their portfolio of MSc program, usually what you will find 2 MSc in finance. One that could be labeled international finance or something similar, that basically would be a generalist program where you will have 2 tracks, one in corporate finance, one in capital markets on the second semester, and you might find something on accounting and perhaps wealth management. Where in our case, this is not what you will find. You will find really specific MSCs. You have one dedicated MSc for the one that want to venture in corporate finance careers. You have another one, which is a corporate and finance and banking. You have a second MSc, which is completely dedicated to financial engineering for the one that want to become a trader, sales trader, structurer, asset manager, or working in some alternative space. You have another one on accounting and finance, and you have the last one, which is on climate change and sustainable finance, done in partnership with a top French engineer school, École des Mines. So what does that mean? That means that the granularity, in fact, of the program are really great, since basically we do not have only one semester to specialize our students either in capital markets or either in corporate finance. We have the full year, right? So please keep in mind, first feature, we have this finance track for the master in management specialization, 3 years ready to build your career. And if you already got some professional experience, another possibility, if you need, in fact, this additional edge, you have a possibility, in fact, to tap in a very large portfolio of specialized MSCs. We also have a more general MSc, which is the international finance. This is MSc that is targeted for students that, for instance, would like just to study for 1 year, but do not really know if they are ready for corporate finance career or capital markets career. And normally it's really targeted for engineers. That means that they just need, in fact, to know how we label letter A in finance, which is a bit different from their alphabet that they learn in engineer school. You see that there are corporations here, corporation logos, there are partners. So Crédit Agricole, for instance, Amundi, they are the corporate partner of the MSc in climate change. Société Générale is a historical partner, corporate partner of the MSc in corporate finance, PwC for accounting and finance. What does that mean to be a corporate finance in MSc? It's not only a logo, it means that basically they are recruiting, they are also sending some people to teach to our students. They build case studies. So this is obviously a great opportunity for students to add the professional layer. If we move to the next slide, thank you. So yeah, you won't be surprised. So this is exactly what I was mentioning before. You have really a set of very specific MSCs that you will be able to choose and to follow. If you do the finance track master in management in year 3, you will have possibilities either to venture in corporate world, either in capital markets with the MSc financial engineering, to really build something which is a very interesting proposition with respect to the climate change, that will give you not only the finance, climate finance investing approach, but also you will learn about the physics that is behind the net zero transition. And basically you will be able also to understand all the climate scenarios. So you will have a double competencies, a financial competency, but also a climate science competency. And you have the MSc in accounting and finance. You have the type of careers that our students are able to follow after those MScs. So not surprised that if you do the MSc in corporate finance, like Simona, you will either work in private equity as Simona, if I'm correct, or you will work in M&A or as either an equity or a debt capital market analyst. If you go in financial engineering, I mentioned before, trader, sales, structure, asset manager, either in traditional space or either in alternative space, also risk manager and wealth manager. Climate change is basically you do the jobs that will do the one in corporate finance or in capital markets, financial engineering, but with this tweak of the sustainable finance. So typically you will work not in a generalist private equity, but more in an impact fund, for instance, or a climate private equity fund. This is for the corporate finance part. And if you work in the asset management part, typically you will work in ESG team, for instance. MSc Accounting Finance, it's great, for instance, if you want to work with the Big Four in transaction or advisory services. It's also a great opportunity after, it's a good step to venture after in M&A too. So yeah, this is for the portfolio of the 4 MSCs that are open to the students that decide to follow the track in the Master in Management. And if we go on the one that decide not to stay with us for 3 years, but only to stay with us for 1 year, by entering directly in the MSc, well, basically, they will follow the same MSCs. They will be commingled with the student from the Master in Management. There is only one additional one that will be open to them, which is the MSc in International Finance. And as I said before, the MSc International Finance, typically for students that are not completely sure with respect to, do I prefer to do a career in corporate finance or market finance, or for students that, for instance, are coming from an unrelated background, typically engineers. So yeah, the way it is structured, you have the foundation courses, then you have the core courses. And typically on the second semester, you have a portfolio of electives. You have also certificates, and typically you finish by end of May, and by the 1st of June, you can start, in fact, a full-time position or an internship, but we prefer obviously a full-time position, and this is effectively what most of our students are doing after graduating. Next slide, please. Yeah, so just give you, in fact, a bit more details on the curriculum. You will receive I'm sure you will receive the presentation after, so you will be surprised if you do the MSc in corporate finance. You have course on M&As, you have course on, for instance, financial modeling. You have course on PE, on VC, on decentralized finance. Perhaps one feature is that for the courses, the core courses are mainly taught by top full-time academics, finance professor at EDHEC. We got a very, very strong team of finance professors that are well-renowned, that publish in the best academic journals, Review of Financial Studies, Journal of Finance, you name it. But for the elective, it's typically courses that are delivered by practitioners, and this is very important. For instance, the course on private equity is given by Cyril de Maria, which is very well known in the industry. This guy is a practitioner. He's advising clients, so you know what he's talking about. And so you will work for all those courses, project finance 2, investment banking, financial modeling. They will be delivered by lecturers that are professionals, that are industry players, and they will present you the tools that are used, in fact, in your real job, right? So this is really another competitive edge of EDHEC. As I was mentioning, EDHEC is very well known in the industry, and we get a strong reputation, and we have very, very special links with the industry. This comes from our research centers, but also from our ventures. We got, for instance, the EDHEC Infrastructure and Private Markets Research Center that is very, very well known in the industry, that is collaborating, that is doing part of research, but part of business. This is for the private market space. For the capital markets, we got the Portfolio Scientific Analytics, that is more business venture, which is delivering cutting-edge software for the asset manager and asset owners. And we got also the EDHEC Risk Climate Institute that is doing research on climate finance, and especially on how to help the asset manager and asset owners in terms of climate scenarios, in terms of climate risk. So very, very strong reputation, and also a big network. If you come at EDHEC, you will be part of large ecosystems where you will not only have great professors, but you will have also great lecturers that are coming from the industry, and you will be exposed also to a lot of company presentations. Did not mention that you have also a dedicated CAR center, but you will in fact have a dedicated CAR center of more than 7 people that are completely dedicated to finance graduate program. That means students working in the MSCs and students studying in the finance track, okay? And they are only focused on you. So what they do, they provide you a lot of job opportunities. They network with the alumni, and also they prepare you, in fact, to pass the different step of the interview process. Société Générale is a partner. MSc Financial Engineering. MSc Financial Engineering, this is a very quant program. The objective is really to help you so that you will be able to secure positions in trading, in systematic hedge funds, or in private space like commodity space, for instance, hedge funds. This is a program that all the programs that they got more than 10 years of track records. Okay, so they are not new. So you have also a strong alumni community that already study in those programs, and they know the program, and the banks know us, the several financial institutions know us, thanks to our graduates. But we, each year, obviously, we adapt our program. We try always to keep with the constant evolution of the industry. And also, time to time, we make more big changes. And for the MSc Financial Engineering, past year, we've decided to strengthen the curriculum. So we added a lot of machine learning, and we also created 3 concentrations, 3 tracks. So meaning that when you enter this program by the end of the first semester, even if it's a specialized MSc in quantitative finance, you will have a possibility, depending on your professional project, either to follow the investment solution track, which is more systematic asset management, the systematic trading, which is for structuring and trading, and the alternative asset track, which is for people that prefer to venture in commodities, hedge fund, or private asset space. A track is 4 specific courses that are really only specific to the track. On the top of that, you have 3 additional electives. So that means you have a possibility to have 7 courses that really will add another layer of specialization. If we go to the next one, we have the climate change sustainable finance. Thank you. So done in partnership with École des Mines, a top French engineer school. So the objective of this MSc is really to give you an hybrid experience. 50% of the courses are given by us. What we do, we provide the climate finance, sustainable finance component. So how to finance the transition, basically. And École des Mines will provide, in fact, the courses related to the physics of the energy transition. Okay, and also anything related to the modelization of the transition. So this is really a great opportunity. This is a program which is a bit small. Huh? There are only 40 students, very, very selective. And it is done in partnership, as I was mentioning before, with Amundi and Crédit Agricole. Crédit Agricole CACIB, so the investment banking arm, and also la Caisse du Nord, which is for the larger part of Crédit Agricole. Last one is the MSc in Accounting and Finance, done in partnership with PwC. So PwC is a historical partner. It means that they deliver a specific course based on case studies. They recruit a lot of the graduates from this program. And the program focus on international accounting, on audit, internal control. We also added this year a new course on extra financial reporting, due in fact to the evolution of accounting. With sustainable finance, you need now to report not on the traditional financial metric, but also on the extra financial metrics. And so we need to keep pace with the evolution of the financial and corporate world. This is what we do. Next slide. International finance, generalist program, kind of what you will be able to find in most of the other business schools. So you start with Finance 101, and then you got 2 tracks on the second semester, corporate finance, market finance. This is historically a MSc that we designed for engineer school, for instance, for students coming from engineer school that do not have the finance background. It's also, as I mentioned, for students that are not completely sure if they want to specialize at this stage in corporate finance or capital markets. Yeah, so this was the overview. So in terms of selection, so obviously, as Marie-Gaëlle mentioned, EDHEC is a top business school. We are worldwide recognized. We got a strong reputation, so we are selective. So what we are looking for, obviously, we are looking for people that are motivated, that want really to learn. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. What you need to like numbers, right? If you do finance, basically, well, you will play with numbers. We are looking for students that are curious, engaged, and I think those are really the main criteria. We also want to be sure that effectively you're consistent with respect to your choice. So we are looking to your academic transcript. If you want to go, for instance, to MSc in corporate finance, we will look to your previous corporate finance courses if you had them and look to your performance. We also look, it's important for us, to your professional project in your motivation letter. We want to be sure that those programs will give you the best so that it will help you to grow and to accelerate your career in the financial industry. So basically, motivation, academic performance, some professional experience, depending on do you enter at the finance track, no professional experience expected. Do you enter at the MSc level on the last year? In this case, depending on the program, there are some pre-experience that we are looking for. All the programs are super selective, but the MSc in financial engineering is more selective on the quantitative skills, and the MSc in climate change sustainable finance, since it's a dual diploma with École des Mines, basically we select, but École des Mines is also part of the selection jury. So there are in fact two voices. You need to be selected by us, but also selected by the École des Mines. And I think I'm good. So now it's time, in fact, to pass the floors to Simona. So we are very, very happy to have Simona today. So Simona follow, in fact, the Master in Management Finance track. Now she is in the MSc Corporate Finance. And basically, Simona, perhaps let's start by a rapid introduction. Can you say a few words about who you are, what you have done?
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you. My name is Simona. I come from Italy. And very briefly, in terms of my academic background, I've done my bachelor degree in Italy at Bocconi Business School, well, Bocconi anyway, in international economics and management. But then I decided to move into finance, and that is why I chose to come at EDHEC. And I chose to apply for the Master in Management with the finance track. Indeed, I loved numbers, so it was an easy choice. And also EDHEC was quite an easy choice, especially because they offered the gap year, which maybe we have a chance to talk a bit more during this brief discussion. In terms of my previous internship experiences, I had a couple during my bachelor, and I want to say that the first one really made me understood what I didn't want to do, and that it's when I understood how important it is to do internships, and the gap year was definitely, let's say, a success in terms of that side for me, because I had a chance to explore. I started off in the Netherlands, more on a listed side of equities and bonds. And that it's when I said, okay, maybe I'd like the private market more. And that's when I started applying to get into a private equity fund. And then I got 2 internships in a private equity fund, and one then later on was transformed into a full-time offer. So I'll rejoin a company that I worked during my gap year at the end of my studies. So this is a very quick introduction about myself and what I've done since I joined EDHEC.
Thank you, Simona. Perhaps can you talk about your academic experience? So what was your best course in M1? The one you enjoyed the most when you studied the first year, that was a foundation course part?
Yes. So M1, I fell in love with M1. Honestly, it was like probably one of the best year of my studies, because you see many and various aspects of finance, which I really enjoyed. So picking just one course, it's quite hard, I must say. But anyways, personally, I really enjoyed the course in climate change. It was the first time that was delivered to me, and we had 3 top-notch professors, which really drove us into more of also the physics, the economics, and the finance related to climate change and sustainable finance. And if I can have a second pick, it was, of course, the evaluation course, because it involved a big project. So we really, let's say, got our hands dirty and worked a lot with financial statements of a company. Again, probably the first time I had a chance to work closely with those financial statements for quite some time. So I felt that really stuck with me and also helped me during my professional experience.
Thank you, Simona. Perhaps can you say also some few words about the Career Center? The way you interact with them, did they help you? What was your experience with the dedicated finance Career Center of EDHEC in the Nice campus?
Yes, of course. I just wanted to start off by saying that you can find the Career Center in the 4th floor, and they're always there for you. So I don't know how many times I've stopped by since I joined the EDHEC. They're there for us to help us. And in particular, I was in contact with one career advisor, but of course, there's more than one. And she really walked me through my professional path. So we kind of made a plan since I joined the EDHEC and how to reach that goal, and the steps I needed to take, and also what I should focus on. And when I got interviews or assessments, they were there for me. They were there for us. So I think the Career Center is a true value added for EDHEC, for us. And it all stands to us, though. So we are the one that need to be in charge of talking to them, going to them, asking for help. So I would say we need to learn how to ask for help. And if we do, we find an incredible team that is there to help us and, let's say, walk by us during the finding of our profession or whatever we'd love to do after we graduate. And at the same time, what really got me was that during the year, there are multiple occasions like EDHEC Forum or the Finance Career Days, in which recruiters come to campus and are there to answer questions, and then we can apply to various job openings. So the Career Center, I think it's probably one of the best things I would mention when talking about EDHEC.
Thank you, Simona. I think it's pretty clear. I don't know if Miguel, you want to ask another question to Simona?
Yes, maybe a last one. You are in your specialization year, right? And I was thinking that maybe you can say a few words between the difference between your first year, the foundation year, the M1 that you fell in love with, and the second year, your specialization year in corporate finance and banking.
Yes, of course. So yeah, as I mentioned, M1 was my first approach to finance. Absolutely loved it. But as you say, there's the first love, but there's also a second love. And in that case is the M2. So working for a year and then going back to school, let's say it's not easy. They're very different environment, very different settings. But working for a year in corporate finance, because in the end, that's what I did for most of my gap year, and going back to school also helped me to saw the courses in a different perspective and approaching them with different eyes. And I think that really helped me to get the most out of them, because before applying what we learn in M1, it all seems very academical, very theoretical. But then once we apply it and then we go back to strengthen it, we can really get the most out of it. And in terms of curriculum, as it was already mentioned, M2 is way more specific. So now I'm into my second semester of the last year, and we've dealt with mostly corporate finance topics, which is absolutely great. In particular, in the first semester, we had advanced corporate finance, and I think that it's a very comprehensive course about corporate finance that drove us through the main aspects. And again, we had a group project, which is definitely a pro, because you put yourself in the shoe of a professional, and then you need to deliver something that is comprehensive and good. So to sum up, M1, you learn a lot about finance in general, so different aspects of finance. M2, based on your career goals, you dive deeper into a specific set of subject in my case, corporate finance.
Thank you so much, Simona, for sharing your experience. It was very interesting. Emmanuel, do you have any more questions, or we can move on to the next part?
No, I think now we can move to the Q&As.
Yeah, the Q&A session. So yeah, I'm just gonna say quick words about the requirements. You can see find everything on our website. So I invite you to go to edhec.edu website where you can see all the criteria that you need to meet to enter one of our Masters in Finance program. We also offer scholarship. The most important things to know about our scholarship is that all admitted candidates are automatically considered for an EDHEC scholarship. And again, everything is mentioned on the website, because I see that the time is running out. So we should move on directly to the Q&A session, if you are good with that. Carolina, is it okay for you?
Yeah, it's fantastic. First of all, I want to thank our panelists for their interesting debate and their presentations, and thank everyone as well for joining us and for your questions. So without further ado, let's move to the first one, since we have so many questions, in fact. The first one is MIM Finance versus Master in Finance. Can you tell us the differences while applying? That we have to keep in mind while applying.
So I guess for the differences, we explained to it that really the difference is the duration, and it's also what you got in terms of previous experience. So this is for the academic part, right? So if you do not already secure, for instance, a spring, a summer, if you do not have already some pre-experience in M&A, private equity, finance is very, very competitive. So the Master in Management Fast Track is really, I think, the best option, so that you will be able, in fact, to develop your career. You will have, as Simona, I think, very well mentioned, you will really have your gap here. Now, in terms of the process, Miguel, I mean, the point is this is going through
the process. The process is quite the same in the application. The only difference is that for the Master in Finance, the Master in Management, the finance track, you need to submit a GMAT test score, and for the Master of Science in Finance, the GMAT is not mandatory; it's optional. However, a strong GMAT test score would definitely add weight to your application, but otherwise you need to go to a website, and you can apply online, entirely online.
Okay, great, thank you. And the next one is, in how much time does one get notification from EDHEC whether the profile one has submitted for Master in Finance is accepted or rejected from the date of submissions? And the second one, I think we already answered it.
Yes, then I will let Marielle to complement, but the process is very fast. So we do the rolling admission on a rolling basis. Okay, so this is fast, right? Once we receive, we have regular selection committees, and that means we look with the admission committee will look to the motivation letter, to the CV, we look to the academic transcripts, and then based on all those elements, we take decision, and the decision are communicated very rapidly.
Yeah, I have nothing to add. As Emmanuel mentioned, it's very quick, and we do all the selection committee very often. So you might expect an answer during 2 weeks' notice, I would say.
Okay, great. Thank you. And next one is it possible to apply to the Master in Finance and Banking and the Master in Management Finance track at the same time?
Yeah, it is possible, yes.
Fantastic. Do these programs propose alternance?
So no, there is no alternance. So it's very important because whatever choice, if you opt either for the Master in Management Finance track, or if you opt for already a specific MSc, at the end you will obtain the Grad Master. And to obtain this Grad Master that is delivered by the French Ministry of Higher Education and Research, it must be a full-time. So it's not a part-time, it's a full-time. There is no alternance. The only possibility, in fact, to really develop your professional experience is to follow the Master in Management and to use your gap year.
Okay, great. Thank you. And next one is, what is the difference between MIM second year specializing in finance and 2-year Master in Finance? Which is preferred for who?
So I'm not sure I understand completely the question. So basically, if you do the Master in Management Finance track, on your year 3, you have 4 finance MSCs. If you decide to enter at the MSc level, you have the same 4 MSCs plus an additional 1. And all is done in, you start, if I'm right, by for the MSc, if you join at the MSc level, you start by July and you will finish by May. This was what you got in the slide. If you do the Master in Management for the same MSc, you finish a bit earlier depending on the program. So this is where you might have a teeny difference. If I take one step back, if you do the Master in Management Finance track, you have year 1, gap year, year 3, with a specific MSc. Since you have basically 2 years of academic studies, in 2 years' time, you will be able to obtain the 120 ECTS credits that you need to have the Grand Master. 60 ECTS credits in year 1, 60 ECTS credits in year 3 in your MSc. If you decide to enter only at the MSc level, obviously, to obtain the 120 ECTS credits in only 1 year instead of 2 years, you will be in the same MSc, but you will have an additional set of courses to give you the additional ECTS credits. So you will finish later. So somebody that is doing the Master in Management Finance track and do, for instance, the MSc in Corporate Finance will finish by end of March. Somebody that entered directly only on the last year in the same program, MSc Corporate Finance, will have the same courses of Simona, but instead of finishing by end of March, she or he will finish by end of May, because she will have an additional set of electives that will provide the additional set of ECTS credits, but also nice courses to obtain in 1 year instead of 2 years, so 120 ECTS credit. I hope that I was clear.
Yeah, I think so. And the next one is, it's possible to take French language lessons too?
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
if you have a course.
There are effectively French courses. This is very developed. Yeah. So we get Chinese students, we get Indian students, we get students coming from all the world. Basically, we get a split of 40 international, 60 French students. It also depends on at the MSc level on the MSc, but this gives you, in fact, an idea that effectively this is an international business school.
Okay, great. Thank you. And another one, do you provide accommodations in France?
We have we don't provide accommodation in Nice, but we do have an international student office, which is a department that helps international students to settle in France, so they can help you to find an accommodation. I don't know if Simona, you benefit from the ISO International Student Office help when settling in France, or if you manage to find your own apartment by yourself.
I found my own apartment. I benefited anyway from the service, but not for the accommodation. Anyway, there are also information on the website because I was looking when moving to France, so maybe you can check it as well.
Okay, great, thank you. And the next one, next student asks if you have an internal language entry examination for the enrollment, or do you accept a Duolingo certificate for the language?
We don't accept a Duolingo for the language. I saw the question on the chat. What I can advise this prospective student is to reach out to an international recruitment team. So you must go to the website and click on the button Evaluate Profile. So once you submit your profile to get evaluated, you will reach out to an international recruitment manager, and you can explain to the international recruitment manager your situation about the test in Iran that are complicated to take.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. And next one is about the certification for the math level. The student is still managing to pass CFA level 2nd. Would it be enough of a math level for the financial engineering or the climate change and sustainable finance master?
So it's always difficult to give an answer, because we need, in fact, to know exactly what is the profile of the candidate. So there is no absolute answer. Definitively for the MSc Financial Engineering, what we look at, what is very important, is to see if the students, for instance, on the academic side already got a background in derivatives. So already had some courses in options, futures. So this is something that is important. What we want to be sure, obviously, is that the students won't fail academically. So for the financial engineering, CFL level 2 might be a necessary condition, but not a sufficient one. There are need effectively very difficult to give like that in 2 sentences, just to say, is it yes or is it no? This is why we got this admission jury. But for this MSc, effectively, we look to the academic transcript. We make sure that there is a sound understanding of the foundation of market finance, so portfolio management, optimization, and derivatives instruments. This is really, really important. And for the climate change, what we look at, we look first if there is really an engagement with respect to climate change. So what is important is to see also any internship related to ESG or climate change. This is a nice add-in. And we also look to any academic experience in physics, because since this is given, in fact, 50% by a top engineer school, there will be a lot of physics, and we need to be sure that the students won't fail on this part. So the background is that is expected is not so much on quant per se, but to have some pre-experience in physics. You're on mute. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. They also ask if do you recognize exams taken in other countries? I think it depends on the exams.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
So we need more detail about this one. On this one.
It's 2 general questions. Yeah, of course. And also, this is about the interview. How many questions do we have during the Kira interview regarding the Master in Corporate Finance? Do you have any advice to better prepare the Kira interview?
So I guess I'm not sure, but I guess you must have, let's say, five questions. There are generic questions, so they are not technical, right? Now, for the MSc Financial Engineering, we had an interview process that is a bit different from the other MSc. So you have the KIRA for all the MScs, but if you want to apply to the MSc Financial Engineering, it is a two-step process. So the first step will be the eligibility. So we will look like for the other candidates on their profile, look to the KIRA videos, look to academic transcript, to the letter of motivation. If we find that there is a good fit with the MSc Financial Engineering, we will conduct a 30-minute interview with myself and one of my colleagues. And here, effectively, better come prepared, but international admission, for instance, they will provide all the information. What we test first a good understanding of the foundation of finance. So again, a good understanding of some basic derivative instruments. We also are very keen just to look to how the candidates follow the news. So it's important to read, right? Either the Financial Times or the Wall Street Journal, or some specific financial newspaper. So what is your level of understanding about what is going on in the markets? And we also look to more human skills. Yeah. So this is kind of a recruitment interview. Why? Because this is really the most selective one in terms of the MSCs.
Okay, thank you. And next one, hi, is it challenging for non-EU students to secure a full-time role?
So yeah, now the question is more with respect to finding a job, right? If I understand.
Yeah, I think so.
In the EU, so that means we have a lot of graduates coming from India, coming from China that have been able to secure a position. Definitively, it's more difficult, just to be honest. So for some time, we get some candidates that come to us and say that they want to study at EDHEC. And one of the reasons is because they want to work in the financial industry in Paris. Some are able to secure a position, but definitively you need to invest a lot in French. That means you need to speak French. Okay. Same story if you want to work in Germany, you need to speak German. You see with the Brexit now that you have a kind of relocation of part of the financial industry. Before it used to be in London. It's still in London, but you have some part of the business now that went back to each of the city. So yeah, that means if you work in India, you have a competitive advantage if you're Indian. This is the same story if you go to work in France. If you go to work in Germany, if you go in London, this would be less the problem. So I will say that for London-based jobs, the language barrier would be less problematic than it would be if you want to secure a job in continental Europe. But each year, you get students coming from non-EU that are able to secure great positions. People coming from India, from China, people coming from Africa, people also coming from Russia, for instance, Ukraine. But this is more challenging, definitively.
Okay, great. Thank you. And is it required to give an English proficiency even if we have done our bachelor's in English?
No, in this case, you can have a waiver for the English proficiency test.
Okay, great. And also, do you have any advice for the letter of motivation?
Maybe this one would be for Simona. She wants to share with us some advice if she remembers a letter of motivation back then.
Yeah, of course. Well, I can tell you my own experience. Just be yourself, stay why EDHEC, why France, and mention if you have a specific career path you would like to follow and what's the role that EDHEC plays within it. I would mention these things. And also what I remember is that if you apply both to the MSc and the MIM, you need to write 2 different letters.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I am currently in a double degree in quantitative finance, and I would like to join to your MSc in finance, but I'm finishing my end of study internship at the end of September. Is it prohibitive if the course is started at the beginning of September? Thank you.
So the academic programs start in September. So obviously you need to be there by September.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah.
And also, do you have a maximum age to apply for the Master in International Finance program?
So there is no official limit, but now definitively that means the average age of the students will be 22, 23. So each year, depending on the program, we have some candidates that are, let's say, in their 27, 30. So again, it really depends on the profile of the candidate. So this is possible. Again, it will be a bit more challenging, depend that there is nothing absolute, but when you will be on the market, yeah, there is a competition, and obviously younger people might in some dimension might be more competitive, in others they will be less competitive. So yeah.
Yeah, of course. And can we have a rough size for the number of applications and the number of admitted students for the corporate finance and banking masterclass, please?
So I don't have the figure in my mind yet, but we receive a lot of application. This is a big program. We got usually, so now, okay, first, the size of the program, take into account two type of populations. So there will be the students that have followed the Master in Management Finance track that will help, like Simona, to the MSc Corporate Finance. And then you will have the student that just have decided to follow this MSc, coming, for instance, from another academic institution, from a bachelor, for instance. So when you combine the two, it's a program with 240 students. Okay. And well, that means we receive a lot of applications for this program. So it's a selective program.
Okay, thank you. And will a French language test, TCF, for instance, add weight to the application?
No.
No, not really, because all of our Masters in Finance program are delivered in English. So
Yeah, of course.
Mm.
Okay, thank you. And the last one is I have a bachelor degree in a subject that is unrelated to finance. Would you recommend I apply now or take the CFA or GMAT and apply later in the year? Thanks.
So if you do not have a bachelor related to economics or finance, but it's possible to apply. But in this case, so I was thinking about, first, depend where do you want to apply. So if you apply, for instance, in the Master in Finance track, it's possible because basically you have 3 years to develop your skills in it. If you decide to apply in a specific MSc, in this case, this will be the international finance, because this is the one that have been designed for students that don't have a specific background in finance.
Of course. Thank you so much. I think that we can close the session here. I would like to thank our panelists, of course, for their interesting presentations and also their help answering the questions. And I'd like to remind everyone interested in receiving a certificate of attendance by Doxity that you can click on the link that I'm sending in the chat right now and request it. And I would like to close the webinar asking our panelists if they would like to leave our participants with a message, maybe.
So Simona, do you want to start?
Sounds good. My suggestion is to be curious. So be curious about what you want to pursue and really try to find what you want to pursue with your professional experience and find something that makes you want to go to work with a smile on your face. I found that in my internship, and I think it's a great feeling. So try to find what you love.
Thank you. Miguel?
Yes, I would be more pragmatic, I guess. Just that if I hope that this webinar has convinced you that EDHEC is the best choice for Masters of Finance. If you are willing to apply, you can go to a website and invite you if you do have any more questions that were unanswered. You can send an email to the email address international.admission plural at edhec.edu to receive some answers. And I guess that you will receive the presentation afterwards, the webinar, and there will be the email address in the presentation at the end.
Okay, so I guess I would conclude. So yeah, so we have a motto at EDHEC, is to make an impact. So if you want to make an impact on the financial industry, this is a place to be. You will be with the best students, best professors. So happy to welcome you on this campus with the finance team.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much to our speakers and also to everyone connected with us today. And of course, I hope to see you again in the next webinar organized by Doxity. So goodbye, everyone, and have a nice day.